I don't even know how to tell this story. So I shared this one with some friends, and now this has been cleared by Amy, to be clear.
Okay.
This has been cleared, no pun intended. But I shared it with some friends, and some said you shouldn't tell it, and some said, why not? Why not tell it? Amy seems to be fine with it. She's the one that said I should tell it. So we're out on the beach, all right? Isla and Amy are down by the water, and Amy acts like she steps on something. I'm watching. I'm having a 55. And so Amy comes hobbling out of the beach up to the umbrella. And she's like, I got stung by a jellyfish. Stepped on one, stung.
That hurts.
Yeah. She's in pain.
Okay.
Bad pain.
I'm nervous about this.
Her idea is her idea, Mike.
I'm still, even though it's her idea, I feel like this probably shouldn't be told because I don't know. Keep going. I'll wait.
Well, you can imagine. She was in bad pain, and she said, do you think that'll work if you TT'd on it?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So right there in the middle of the, there's people on the beach, right? There's probably a little family about 15 foot to our right, and there's a couple about 10 and 20 foot to our left, and down the beach there's more people, but not right on top of us, right? But close. So we kind of maneuver a lot of our stuff so we're we're not in their line of sight, and her words, I quote, saved her life.
So this isn't.
She was in so much pain, and she said it worked immediately.
Can I ask questions?
Yeah.
Is this a question? Is this a Q&A?
Yeah.
Who peed on her?
I did.
You peed on your wife?
Yes.
On the beach?
Yes.
In front of everybody.
Yes. She was hurting.
No, I got it.
No. You can't understate the pain of a jellyfish sting. You can't understate this.
Got it. You're a hero.
In her eyes, her words, and I quote, saved her life. That's what she said.
That's a superhero right there. I mean, I'm telling you, what's your name? We want to throw out some names for the new superheroes. Urine Man.
We were very creative. So she comes
Captain
over.
PP.
We have these chairs.
Pissmaster. New episode.
Hey, stop. We have these chairs that are flat on the ground. All right, and so I dug a hole in the sand in front of me. She stuck her foot down in it. I didn't even have to move. I peed on her foot.
What?
And then I filled the hole in. I didn't even have to move.
Hold on. No. I'm letting not just me, but the listeners just really process all this. Yeah, we got the vision here.
Did anybody see this?
I just want to also say,
superhero doesn't wait for people to. He don't care what people think. Piss Man.
Oh
has
no!
to get to
No one saw
saving
anything.
lives.
No one saw anything. We maneuvered all of our things around to where there was not anybody in our line of sight. I'm literally sitting almost ass on the beach. I mean, we're low to the ground. We're not. Our chair bottoms sit on the dirt.
Okay, so you don't even stand up.
No. I'm sitting, and she just puts her foot right there in front of me.
And you just piss all over.
Right on her foot. No, I mean, I'm not all over. Like I peed where it needed to go.
Did you giggle?
We're laughing like hell. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was probably laughing a little more. Amy was hurting, but laughing and crying. She was hurting and laughing. It worked. It worked. I've never done it. Never tried it. You hear about it. Just saying, if you're in a situation, I promise you, you and your wife, someone gets stung by a jellyfish, you're gonna consider it.
I'm gonna call you. You
to pee on her.
You want me to pee on you? What the hell?
No.
Why would you call me? Don't freaking call me,
No,
Mike.
you
can't
you're like
handle-
the plumber. You're like the plumber for jellyfish.
I'm not available.
stings.
I'm not available
Yeah.
for house calls. All right. So if If Amy happens, if anyone.
I ain't pissing on my wife.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I don't even think I could.
It's not that hard.
Isn't that in the vows not to?
Everybody's shaking their head like they'd have no problems. Are you telling me on a crowded beach, you could just sit there and piss on somebody?
A lot of heads nodding. Yes.
Y'all are some sickos.
Wife in pain.
Wife in pain.
Her words, quote, saved her life.
Whenever we done the Lost Speedway, people started coming, and they asked me, how long did you know Dale Jr.? I said, I really never knowed it.
Yeah.
I said, the closest we ever was St. Louis when the racetrack come apart. That day it was 400 degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there turned around backwards because everybody's spun out, and you hit me head on.
Yep.
Slide into me.
Yep.
I mean, I seen you coming at me.
Oh, yeah. So you want to know the truth about that. So it was 110 degrees. Somebody died in the
3 people died that day in the grandstand.
grandstands.
Yeah.
This is a hell of a story. We'll wrap it up. But so my spotter, Steve Crisp, had some sunburn from earlier in the week at his house, probably mowing his grass. He goes to spot for me, and it's so hot that he ended up in the infield care center and them scraping the skin off his legs because the heat had cooked his legs inside his pants, and that sunburn blistered. Oh, and he ended up going to the hospital. It was miserable. So the race starts, and I'm driving. I bought this car from somebody, and me and my late model boys, Wesley and a couple other people, we'd fixed this thing up and got it ready to go, but we didn't insulate the oil box or nothing, and it just, I was cooking. We all were.
Yeah.
And whenever I saw there was a wreck off of 2, I could not wait to get in it.
Okay. Hey, now I can tell the story.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to say anything. I remember you getting out, and you said, have you ever been this damn hot in a race car?
Yes.
And I said, no. You said, man, if my dad knew I was falling out of the seat, he would kick. I remember that plain as day.
It wasn't like 50 laps in the race.
No, it was
early.
I have never in my life been that hot.
I thought it was Lyndon Amick I hit, but I guess I hit you. And I thought, I don't know if I've hit him. I don't know if I've done enough damage to this car to end the day. So I drove the car into the inside guardrail. It's like 100 yards across the grass to get there just to make sure that it was just to make sure it was finished.
What is going on in this story? I've never heard this.
Okay, let me tell you this part. So we're in the infield care center. And I go out, and I don't know. Y'all have to hunt this down. There's a clip either on TV or radio. And they interview me, 'cause I was running like 3rd or something.
Yeah.
I mean, and the racetrack was terrible. I mean, one lane. And it was like driving a gravel road. And we get in there, and I interview, and I'm getting ready to walk away, and they interview Dale. Man, I had a great car. God, I hate I got this wreck. I said, God. And I just walked off. I said, that's...
What?
I was not hurt. My car was not hurt.
Yeah.
Are you saying, though? Oh, go ahead.
Somebody comes middle of the race to get me, and they're like, will you drive the Glenn Allen's car? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I mean, by that time, I done forgot how miserable hot I was, and I'm sitting around there thinking how maybe it might be fun to drive his car. My car wasn't very comfortable and very good, but everybody's burnt up. Everybody's cooked. And so Glenn comes in and steps out of his car, throws up right next to me. I climb in. It's on YouTube. And when I got in it, they were like 28th. And all 4 corners is banged up on it a little bit. Everybody had wrecked because everybody was spinning out on the racetrack because the racetrack's coming up. But anyways, they ended up finishing 14th. He ended up making about $4,000 or $8,000 more or something like that, right? And he comes up to me the next week. He goes, man, I made like $4,000 or $6,000. I made that much more money. I don't know, Glenn. Never talked to him before. I'm gonna give you some of that, but he never did. I was like, God, that's a lot of money.
Sounds to me that if he'd given you that money, you probably owed it to Robert and Lennon Amick, who you saw as a ticket to out of the race.
But, you know, it's probably a good thing because I'd probably died of I wouldn't have got out of the race car. I would have probably died of a heat stroke that day because
There you go.
never have I seen it that
That's
hot.
miserable.
Never.
Hey, have you ever owned a pontoon?
No, I've never owned a pontoon.
Would you like to?
I would love to.
You want to go in on halvesies? They're not that expensive.
Expensive in Dale Jr. world or expensive in Mike
What
Davis
does a
world?
pontoon cost?
I figured it cost about $100,000.
Wow, really? I thought it was about 20 grand.
Ain't no way. Maybe like one pontoon, like one float. You had a pontoon.
It
You
was
don't know how much it cost?
Well, that was a houseboat.
Oh, so you're saying a one-layer pontoon.
Yeah, like the cheap guy.
So you want to go halvesies on it? I don't
Yeah.
know. What, you found one that you like? You got something that?
No, I did. I had a houseboat and I sold it. And me and Amy have been, we're driving to watch Wyatt race at this dirt track the other day, and we crossed a couple bridges on Lake Norman. And I mean, there's everybody's got a houseboat out there riding around, a pontoon. Sorry, there's a lot of pontoons, and we're like, man, that'd be nice to be out on the lake riding around.
Well, let's go find one, see how much it costs, and yeah, we'll go halvesies on it.
All right, let's determine a budget together
Okay.
and see if we can fit in there.
Hey,
In the budget.
if we have room on the pontoon for branding, we can just make Dirty Mo Media pay for it.
Yeah, I like
It'd be
that.
the company
I'll
house.
definitely decal it, wrap it.
You wrap
I mean,
it.
That way it can stay, it can park at the lake house, and you and your family can go use the lake house and take off on your pontoon.
I like where your head's at. I already like where your head's at. We just had my daughter's birthday at the lake house
See, I'm probably going to use the pontoon.
once.
No, I would say
Twice.
max 3 or 4 times a year. So I don't need to buy the whole thing. I just want a part of it.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe we could find some other investors
Yeah.
in our pontoon.
I like where your head's at. Let's do this. I've been wanting a boat. Hey, we got other things to talk about.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our boat.
Yeah.
How are we doing on this? Have you? You're about to back out.
No, I'm not
I
backing
see that
out.
face.
No, I'm not backing out. But I had other opportunities. I know. I've
Oh, my
been
God.
presented. Well, look at it like this, Mike.
What?
I've been presented with a better deal.
I just
This
got,
is all-
I just got defriended.
Not
Hung out
not-
with draft.
What kind of
Hey,
what
this
kind of
is the
asshole do you got to be to get on a podcast? Go halvesies on it. Get me to bite and now
People-
go. All right, go
the
ahead.
friendship. That's your choice if you're wanting to defriend. That's
Okay,
you.
I'll let you finish your sentence and then I'll decide.
That's on you. So, me and you
Got it.
talked about.
Better
I
deal.
brought the boat idea to you, if I remember correctly,
You want to go in on halvesies?
and
Yeah.
with the idea to get it at the cheapest
Okay.
price possible.
All right.
Well, I have found a cheaper way to get a boat
How?
by paying less money.
Okay,
But it doesn't-
What does that got to do with the? Oh, you just
but
don't
it
want to be
won't-
partners anymore.
But it won't involve a second investor.
Oh, forgot. So me and TJ are on our own again.
TJ was never really officially brought in.
That's not true. I saw him at the airport just.
So
was it
you
last
brought
night
him
or 2
in?
nights? No, you brought him in.
I did not.
You,
We just
the way
talked.
you brought me in.
Me
You
and
brought
you-
people in, and then you're
You're
bailing.
no.
It's like we're
Listen,
skiing behind
hey.
your boat, and now you are not going to pick us back up after we
here.
fail.
I am a broadcaster. I'm going on the weekends. There
Yeah.
will be a pontoon at a dock, not being used.
not
No.
same.
There'll be a pontoon at the dock. If you want to use it, like, you got to hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of me and you having to pay money, there'll be a free boat. It won't belong to you. It really won't belong to me.
You're getting one. Somebody's giving you a boat
Yes.
or loaning you a boat.
Yes.
It's
Loaning-
on. It's
I'm
on
getting-
lease or
I'm
it's
getting
on,
a boat for the summer. So is that better than owning a boat? I don't know that I want to own one. I just sold
No,
one.
it's not better. It's way worse.
What?
In my opinion.
I now have a thing where no one has to spend anything. But you just have to get over the pride of, I don't own this, but I'm going to use it. You got to get over that, Mike.
Here's the problem with that. You're saying everybody's able to use the boat, or I'm able to use the boat, but you're the only one that thinks that.
Why?
Because there's responsible people around you that would never that know that that's not a good idea. For instance, I take the boat out, or you let TJ take the boat out that is not ours, and then it comes back damaged, or it comes, now we're not responsible for it. People run for it. This is why you don't just let anybody take your property. It's the same reason you don't let people just come in and go play on the basketball court or any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? The
boat is at a dock at a lake house that you use.
I reserve.
Your family go and use it.
Not freely.
How?
It's not mine to go freely just bounce over there. First of all, that
Mike.
Okay, so
it's the same thing in my mind.
Yeah, it's not.
You go use the lake house when you reserve it or whatever however you want to say. You call it reserving. Let's call it reserving the boat. Hey man, me and my family would like to use it this weekend. I ain't there. Amy ain't taking it out by herself. Take off.
You do not feel that way. There's no. I know. I'm sitting here telling you how you feel. There's a problem with that. I get it. All right.
You know me. I know you well enough.
Yeah, I know you well enough to know that would work maybe for a month.
Why would it not work?
Because if now people are looking at saying, "Are you overusing it? Are you overstepping your bounds?"
When have we ever went through this? When have we ever had that?
Me and you personally?
Yes.
Never. Because I don't overstep my bounds.
Maybe because I don't feel that way. I think that it is absolutely normal for us to accept this boat, and it's going to sit at that dock.
Okay.
All right? It's going to need to be ran. It's going to need to be used. The frequency that I'm going to use it.
Dang, I'm so disappointed.
Listen to me.
I know what happened. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Kelly talked you out of it.
Nobody talked me out of it.
Amy talked you out of it.
Oh, you know what? Our guest today, Clint Boyer, is the one that steered me in this direction. No joke. I got the receipts. So if you want to get really mad at somebody, maybe you can get mad at Clint instead of me.
No, I think I'm going to stay with you.
Damn.
All right, one more question, and this one was probably the most asked question of the week, probably because of your Instagram. But what was ever decided between you and Mike Davis on getting a boat?
Hey!
We've seen a boat on your Instagram.
Yeah!
What's the deal?
So I ended up getting a pontoon and a sun tracker, and me and Amy have been out on it a few times. We enjoy it, love it. Probably going to go out again Thursday. Mike, you tell your end of it.
Can I?
You can if you want.
I don't know what's appropriate to this, but I've been eager to actually say something, and I just didn't know if it was right. But this is now right. He's giving me the green light.
Now's your time.
Let me tell you about this guy. This guy got 2 boats. Yes, he did. And one of them is titled in my name.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm telling you, and I'm going to tell you something else. Just Sunday was the first day I had not been out on it. I am a shipboat captain now. I mean, I'm telling you, I love it. And he did it. I mean, and he called me, and I was like, I was so moved by it, and it's every bit as awesome as I had hoped it would be. And I'm like, I felt so guilty that we even had the conversation on the podcast, because I was like, did I guilt him into this?
No.
But I'm going to tell you, he did the most amazing gesture that just, and I will be appreciative. I just don't know how to express it. Dale Jr. Absolutely delivered the most amazing thing ever. So, yeah.
If I'd have known you were going to react the way you did, I'd have got that thing years ago. And I'd have got
like
you,
right now, how I'm reacting now, or but when it happened?
If I'd have known you were going to react the way you did to receiving that boat, I would have got you that boat many, many years ago.
Really?
Absolutely. Because I have valued you more than you'll ever know, and appreciated you. You've came in clutch in so many scenarios, and you've helped us develop so many amazing facets to our brand and our business. But yes, me and Mike got our boats.
It's amazing.
And it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I love it. Owning a pontoon is a great thing. I love parking it. I love pulling it out of the slip. We keep our boats at the same pier. So when I come to get on my boat, I go, hey, there's Mike's boat.
Yeah.
And It's fun, man.
Before we get going, Dale Jr.'s not here yet. We're going to do a surprise. Our guest, Cole Swindell, is in on it. We're going to try to pull this off at the end of the interview. So just, I can't wait. I'm a little nervous about it. I ain't going to lie. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I got to grab some.
Yeah. Oh, shit. What the hell?
To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dale. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Damn.
What'd you wish for?
Cake out.
That's how
That's amazing. Are we going today? Bullshit.
Hold on, everybody.
Are you
Hold
kidding me?
on. Get back to the table so we can talk to the mic.
Oh, okay.
So we can hear everybody. Here, Doug, come sit down.
I'm going. Damn, I'm going to cry.
Hell, I might cry. I didn't know what was happening.
You are incredibly hard to surprise, by the way.
My God.
How awesome is this?
I mean, I
Oh
thought it
my
was hard to
God.
surprise you for your 40th birthday, but with kids and all the other things happening now, we have had to reorganize and
Oh,
shush
man.
people for months.
And we got booed the other night when I said something about Isla, keeping Isla.
Y'all messed me up.
Dude, that's all.
He's
So
the
where
one.
y'all heading to Key West then?
Yeah, we are. We're ready to go.
Dude, happy
His
birthday,
bag
man.
is packed.
Absolutely.
God
The
dang.
Bag's packed. That's
Yep,
awesome, bro.
things
Man,
ready.
that's so thoughtful.
Hey,
He's been dying to go to Key West for a while, and one of our other friends is planning a birthday party, and he's
Damn.
talking about how excited he is to go.
that's awesome, dude. That's so awesome.
Dang.
Hey, I remember we played a show in Key West, and he introduced us. That was the coolest, one of the coolest
Hell
moments.
yes. I was so f***ing drunk.
I know. Hey, the next morning, I still use this quote. The next morning, I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And you said, "I'm wounded." And I've said, "I'm wounded" so many times since then.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous about that wounded part for this
I had
week for
so much-
myself, but yeah, it's gonna be
I'll
fun.
check on y'all. Yeah,
That meant,
hey,
hey, I was with Tim, and we were having a great trip, man. But that
Yep.
was cool to be able to go do that at that show, man.
man.
That was fun.
I'm
This is amazing.
That's
Damn,
awesome.
y'all.
Well, thank you,
Yes.
Cole, for helping me
Oh my
surprise
gosh!
him.
Hey, thank y'all for
Yeah,
everything.
nice to
This
see
is
you.
a big thing. Tim, good to see y'all. Yeah.
How
So
about it?
here's the best part, Dale.
So Dale, the actual
Wait, there's a
truth
better
is,
part?
There's a
No,
better
well, the
part
actual
to
truth
this.
is that Colt didn't really need to go anywhere. We got you here early because we're done with the show. The
Yeah.
show's
You
over.
gotta get
This
outta
is
here,
it.
dude.
You don't have
You're
any more
done.
show to do.
There's
dude.
no
This
open
is it.
segment. We did
You
ask
gone.
Junior already.
Well,
You're
we did an
literally
extra
off for the
long
rest of the week.
Junior
Colt.
yesterday.
Get your ass to
love
Key
it.
West, son.
Yeah, get out of here.
That's been the hardest thing to read. Butterflies trying to catch your bag. It was
Hey.
Surprise colonoscopy? Do we want to go there? Do we?
That's a weird one.
Oh, because these
Sounds
other ones are
pretty weird.
normal.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
You want that one?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
So, yeah, I guess it's a personal one, but it's a funny story. So, when I was racing for Cadillac in a Dallara, the Dallara simulator was in Indy, and I'd spend lots of time there, and the seat in there was super uncomfortable. And one day, like, my butt was so sore, like shooting sharp pains. And people are going to get to really know me on this podcast. And
That's the point.
so, like, crazy pain, like, really uncomfortable. And so I got home, and, like, I didn't want to tell. Like, my dad's a big worrier, so I'm like, there's no chance I'm telling him, or I'm going straight to the ER, and they're going to be all up in there. And so I talked to my mom, like, hey, who's our, like, I think it's gastro something doctor?
Yeah.
Something like that. And so I go see him, and I'm like, hey, I've got these pains. And like, okay, yeah, well, come back Monday at 6 a.m. and I'll have a look at you. And I'm like, okay, like, do I need to do anything? He's like, yeah, do this and this, and it'll be 5 minutes. And I'm like, so, like, I don't have to be put under anesthesia or anything? He's like, no, I'll do it myself. It'll be really quick. You'll be in and out 5 minutes. I'm like, awesome. Like, I don't want anyone else dealing with this or anyone else to know, obviously. And other than everyone else watching now. So I get there 6 a.m. and I walk in, and it's like a proper, like, medical facility. I'm like, this is way more intense than I was expecting right off the bat. I thought he was just gonna, like, take a peek down there and tell me what was happening. And so I go in, and they instantly give me like a gown with like the open back, and I'm like this is already weird. Like I don't need this. I was just gonna drop my pants for the doctor, I think. And she's like, okay, like take a seat. I need to take your vitals. I'm like, okay. And she's like, so who's driving you home today? And I'm like, no, I'm driving myself. And she's like, no, but you have to have anesthesia for this operation. I'm like, no. The doctor said it was 5 minutes. I'll be in and out. I can drive home. And she's like, oh, that's weird. Like we've never had that. And I was like, no, I think I'm here for something different then, because the doctor said it was fine. And she's like, okay, well, let me go check. So she's like, goes check with the different nurses, and they're like, okay, like, yeah, I guess the doctor said this was okay. And I'm like getting worried. I'm like, okay, like I think it's okay too. And at this point, like I've committed myself so much. You know, like when you commit to something, you don't want to ask any questions. Like I definitely haven't asked enough questions to the doctor to know what I'm going in for here with what's happening now. Like I'm wearing a gown. They're trying to give me anesthesia, and I think he's just going to take a look at my butt. And so they start rolling me. They start rolling me down the hallways, and this nurse comes by. He's like, "Oh, we got a badass!" Like because I was awake, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean now? I'm like, you think I'm sweating now? Like I was sweating profusely. Like what is happening? Like what are they gonna do to me in there? And like they roll me in, and
the
there's
word pun though. We got a badass.
So like they roll me in, and then there's like all sorts of screens, and there's 4 nurses, and I'm like, holy moly, like this is something. And they're like, all right, roll on your side. The doctor's about to come in. I'm like, okay. I roll over, and the doctor, like, normal conversation, like, hey, Jordan, like, how's it going? How's the racing going? I'm like, hey, like, I don't want to talk about my racing right now. Like, just finish whatever's about to happen here. And then this, like, nurse walks in, like, oh, Jordan Taylor. Oh, you're the race car driver. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, what are the chances someone here recognizes a sports car driver? Like, this is just perfect. And so I roll over, and they're like, okay. So he's like, so you're gonna feel a little pressure. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, so you watch that screen, and that's the camera. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're putting a camera up there. So they put the camera in. I'm like, holy cow, this is a colonoscopy. And so like he goes in, and I'm like, he's like, just watch the screen. I'm like, no, it's okay. So I'm like, I'm sitting there. Like, have you guys had one of these?
Yeah.
So, but were you awake?
I wasn't awake.
Okay, so no one's been awake.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you were not a badass.
No. So I didn't know there was an option, but I don't think I'd take it.
I don't know if you should. So I'm like lying there on my side and like staring over there, and like at some point, like it must hit like a trigger point where it feels like you have to poop. Like it must be like some sort of sensor or like something in your body like when it gets there, like you have to poop. And it gets there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm like holding onto the railing. I'm like, holy cow, I'm about to poop all over this guy's hands. Like his hands are down there with this camera. I'm like, I can't say anything. Like I can't, like I'm just frozen, and I'm like shaking like this, like sweating and like trying not to poop. And he's like, and I'm like, the nurse must have noticed I was shaking. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, is it normal that you need to poop right now? Is it a normal sensation? and the doctor's like, oh yeah, totally normal sensation. I'm like, well, I think I'm about to poop. So he's like, all right, hold on. And he starts backing out. And he backed all the way at it with the camera. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I don't need to poop anymore. And then and he's like, well, everything looks okay in there. You're good to go. And then I rolled out, and I was like, holy cow, I'm never doing that again.
Never doing that again.
And then like when I was like, and then even when I was out of it, I went out to whatever like the post-surgery thing was.
Yeah.
And a nurse comes in like, whoa, you're awake already? That was quick. And the other nurse like, nope, he was awake the whole time. She's like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't recommend that.
How do you find yourself in all these awkward situations?
It's unbelievable.
And why Jimmy Johnson wasn't the most popular driver. When you look at other sports, you know, you look at LeBron James and you look at football, and it's, I don't even know who it is. Who would it be in football?
NFL. Patriots, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it would be Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
You know, and it's our sport is different in a number of different ways, and you know, we'd even talked about it at one point, I believe, when you talk about Jimmy Johnson, when you pair him up with Jeff Gordon and Dale Jr., it's impossible for him to ever capture those two fan bases because of the fact those fan bases were developed, but they also started with a huge magnitude of people and things. So Wrong way to go about it.
Was it the wrong way?
Wrong way.
When did you think it was wrong?
You know, I thought it was, you know, after you get a year or two probably into that, it was probably, I knew it was wrong when you called Josh. And you
Did
said,
I call Josh?
Absolutely.
Oh, I don't remember
and
that.
said, what the, why is he doing this? And
it sounds like something I do.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I think at that point you, it's kind of like getting out of the car. You're mad about what somebody says, and then you fire back, and then you're like, well, can't take that back. So I'm not hiding from it. But
not to minimize my comments, but it was 2017. I was in the middle of my retirement year, and so every weekend they would take me into the media center to do whatever they were going to do, and they would always ask me about current topics and everything coming in and out of the sport every week. And they were asking me about Matt Kenseth and why he's getting shuffled out of Gibbs and how he's probably not going to have a ride, or how will who will hire him, right? And so I was thinking, well, Matt's got to bring his asking price down, and you got these other drivers coming in like Byron and these kids that'll take nothing to take his job, right? He'll if I'm an owner, I'll pay Christopher Bell or William Byron half or way less than hiring Brett or Matt. And not knowing that you were in the middle of a contract negotiation. And you weren't the only driver that came to me and said I had a problem with what you said.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just want you to know, I guess, that I probably could have kept my mouth shut about that.
Yeah, me too.
And that
I could have done the same.
That was definitely
I have a hard time with that.
You go, I go into that media center every week, and they're asking you questions, and you just answer them, right?
Yeah.
And you tell your truth or whatever you feel like you believe.
That's right.
But that was probably a conversation that you're probably. I guess I understand absolutely why you were upset about that.
Well, here's the other problem to that piece. I had a radio show and a producer, and you get fed.
Yeah.
This is what was said, and it might be half of it, or it might be 3/4.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gave you the ammo, and
and then you're
stirred
like,
you right up.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know.
But I still said it. I can't blame it. I'm not trying to blame it on somebody else.
I text you after I heard about the comment, and I said, "Damn, that sucked." And you said, "Yeah, it probably made you feel the way I feel about your comments."
Yeah.
And so
Kevin said that to you.
Yeah, I mean, a day later, and so I'm glad that I've used this show and for a long time to talk to people that that I have these differences with, or if my feelings are hurt, or I've had a fight or an argument, or me and Kyle Busch somehow or another got into that studio over there in that booth and had a conversation, and we get along okay.
He brought beer, to be clear.
I wouldn't say we're best friends and we don't go to dinner, but we're good.
Right.
And with your history, I mean, I've known you for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And I want to talk about that, but and that hurt my feelings so bad when you did that. And I knew that you didn't feel that way. Like, I knew that you weren't just having a general conversation. I knew you were doing it was a hatchet job because of what I'd said. And so but I did want to fix it.
Yeah.
At some point. And so I hope that, beyond today, we can both agree that it's regrettable and get back to being friends.
Yeah, no, I agree, because that's the one thing about this sport that most people don't know, right? You have to be around people, and you have people that you have a lot in common with that sometimes, and I think for me, I choose to almost be silent and just go away from things and just not talk about them and just not be around them. And that's probably, all the time not the right way to do it. And I think for me, I say stuff that you look back on and you're like, oh my God, why in the world would you say that?
So I'm driving the Wrangler car in 1997 in Charlotte, and we're fast. We're like 8th on the board. We're going to tape it off and qualify, go make a mock run in practice. we didn't know that we should probably put tires on too. So we had these 30-lap tires on and taped it off. Like a recipe for disaster. And sure enough, through 3 and 4, I'm coming through the corner and it come around. And I bounced into the fence. And we loaded up, and I think my career's over. Right?
Yeah.
And I had a friend with me named Punchy and another guy. And we rode over to my house and grabbed a bottle of vodka and put it on this coffee table in front of me. And I got my cigarettes. I'm smoking. I got a big old pile. I got an ashtray full of cigarettes. Punchy and the other guy, God, I can't remember.
It wasn't Terrell, was it?
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Are sitting on the couch across from me as a love seat. And we got our shoes kicked off and we're sitting there, and I'm just, we're not talking, not jovial at all. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. This sucks. I can't believe it. I'm not going to run the race, and I'm wrecked a car, only car I got. I didn't know it, but they had brought the car over to the shop, and we're working on it.
Yep.
The guys that were helping me, now I'm 50 yards away from them, or just across the street. They're at the shop cutting the car apart to get it fixed.
And you don't know that?
No.
No.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And so the door swings open. And it's a double-wide trailer I lived in. And the door swings open, bam, slams against the washer and dryer.
Yeah.
Clunk, 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 boom, doom, doom. Dad comes walking in. He looks over at my buddies and goes, "Get your shoes on and get off my property."
Yeah.
And they grabbed their shoes and took off out the front door and drive down the road. And Dad looks down at me and goes, "What in the hell are you doing? They're over there working on your car right now, fixing it, cutting the frame." I'm like, I didn't know they were there. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
They're fixing it? Yes, they're cutting it apart. I'm like, you're gonna fix it? He's like, yes, we're gonna fix it. I'm like, not for the race that weekend, but like I just thought I was done.
So
we went outside.
We went outside on the front porch.
Yeah.
We're on the deck because I was with them.
You were with Dale.
Yeah, I went over there with Dale.
Yeah.
And so
what was he saying when he's driving up the driveway?
He was just mad.
Right.
At first he was just going to check on you.
Oh.
And then he was mad as hell because you were drinking, hanging out with your buddies, and the guys over there, working. So it pissed him off, and then he went spike pissed. Like he was. So we come through. We sit out in the front porch, and this is something I don't know if I should share, but I'm gonna share it anyway. He starts yelling at him about getting his shit together, about getting his life together, figure out what you're gonna do. I'm trying to do all this stuff for you. And Junior is the first time I saw him do this, and he looked at him. He says, "Dad," he didn't call him Dad. He looked at him. He said, and I'm gonna use your vernacular. He goes, "I ain't been a pimple in your ass for the last 10 years, and all of a sudden you can come over here and start telling me all this stuff." And all of a sudden, like it meant something. And Dale's face changed. Now, I don't know if you remember saying that or not, but his face changed, and I was like, that was one of those. I've had moments like that with my own son. And I finally told him one time, I was yelling at him one time in his room, and he looked at me, and I stopped and I said, "You're right." And he goes, "What?" He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do because I was always yelling at him. He was like, I didn't know what to do. And I saw Dale's face change, and I was like, this is a father-son moment, and I walked away. And I went out and stood out in the truck and let them talk for a little bit longer and finish up.
Damn.
Because you stood up to him.
Yeah. It was the greatest conversation we ever had.
Yeah.
And it was the first conversation, like first real talk we had. And he went from, "You're f***ing up, you're making all, you got to get your ass in gear," to like explaining to me, not like, not like.
He told you he was building it for you.
Yeah. He was like,
it was
"Hey,
the first time he told you that.
Yeah. It's the first time he really let me understand, like this is for you, man. This is happening. This is for you. And we had a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said. I haven't been a pimple in your ass, and all of a sudden now, and I was like, oh,
Our marriage was kind of like that racing guy. It was a facade, it was in appearances, it was a great marriage and a great family. But the truth is that, I was not doing a good job being a husband or a father at that point. So it was probably a relief for her, honestly, for me to be gone for a little while.
That's a hell of a thing to admit.
Yeah.
What was going on?
Well, let's see. Where do we start? I think, from, having affairs to not concerned with my kids, not being there as a dad. I mean, just a miserable human being looking for peace, and just being a jerk,
That's not who I think of you as.
I think in the heart of who I was, that wasn't who I was. I think I didn't know how to process failure like that, and all my life was tied up with being a race car driver, and to do something like that and not succeed. I mean, that's definitely, that's one reason, but that's not the reason.
And a lot of people go to therapy.
Yes.
You join the military. Which is, I guess, maybe the same thing.
Yeah, in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to therapy and it didn't help.
Well, listen, because I know y'all are doing well, I appreciate you being so honest today about that with us, because I know that that's no easy thing. I mean, you have a family of 4 now, so I know that the story ends well. But you go to war to get there.
Exactly. That's how that's messed up, But I was looking for a way out of the life I had created, or that I was participating with. Like for me, Afghanistan, is it a deployment to a combat zone? Yes, but it's also a pause in the person who was like the way I was living my life. I wanted to be like, when I was over there, I wanted to be the guy that, you thought I was, or whoever thought I was. Like, I wanted to be the dad, I wanted to be the husband. And I came back with just unbelievable trauma from being deployed since,
Like PTSD?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they call it, but they throw PTSD on everything now. But
yeah.
Yes, that the truth of being, and it's the combat is not near as impactful as being in a combat zone for a year. You can't stick your head outside the door of your hut that you're living in without thinking somebody could be looking at me. If I drive this Humvee or this whatever your vehicle is in, as soon as we leave that wire, it's on, and you live that way for a year, it takes a tremendous effect on your everything. And when you come home, like I'm driving down the road in my Suburban or whatever, and I see trash on the side of the road, and my first thought is that is it going to blow up? That car is a little bit too close to me. Like, that's the way you operate. Your vigilance over there is what keeps you safe. And so you take that amped up, ready to go person who operates at level 10 being ready to kill somebody. We don't ever get above a level 2 here. We live in a level 1, 2, like, even if we have a knockdown drag out, okay, say that's a 3. Well, over there, you're operating at a level 10 all the time. And that just takes unbelievable impact on your every part of you. And you dismiss all of it and you throw it all to the side because you're there to do a job. But for me, to have my family who loved me, supported me, even though like my family, my parents and stuff, they didn't know what was going on. But my wife knew that, and she didn't know the full details of what was going on before I left, but she knew our marriage wasn't great. But she still, when I came home, she's very loving, very supportive. I mean, because it was hard for me to just be in public.
Yeah. It's incredible that she hung in there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably like a year, a year later that, I'm kind of back to the guy that I was before I left. So,
in a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
In a bad way?
Yeah, the jerk, narcissistic jerk who's cheating on his wife and non-existent dad with his kids.
You came back to that guy.
I did.
What the hell?
I went to Afghanistan to leave him, and that worked.
How did you get better?
What did you do? I had, through Melanie, I really had a radical encounter with God's love.
Well, explain that.
So she goes and has this. She goes away and it leaves me with the kids, which I was mad. She's going to this conference in Alabama. So she goes there and has a radical encounter. You know, like just feels something on the inside of her. You know, I would call it, you know, the presence of God. But she felt something that started like, I don't know what's happening, but I feel a peace and I feel something real that, you know, that is changing me from the inside out. So she comes home and I'm sitting on the couch. You know, she's been gone for 3 days. I couldn't get in touch with her. So she comes and sits beside me on the couch. I'm watching TV and she's looking at me, you know, and she's looking at me like she's like, I've never seen this look before. I'm like freaking out a little bit on the inside. Like, you know, because I've got this whole line of lies I'm living, and I'm like, am I getting ready to have to defend myself anyway? So she's looking at me like, just so much love, you know, and so like, I don't know what to do from that for the next week. She's just like not the same person. Like she's just loving me with this very genuine love that hasn't been in our house for a long time, if ever. So what she had done at that point is she told God, if I have to leave this man, I'm going to protect what's happened on the inside of me. Like what's happened on the inside of me is so real, and I feel it so much that I'm willing to leave him in order to protect what's just happened to her. So that's what she said to God. Like the way that she's loving me is just starting to break me down. You know, like I'm start having feelings of the reality of who I am. Like I feel like I was exposed to the condition of my own heart for the first time. Like I could see it. Like I could see kind of the person that I had allowed myself to become, and it just broke my heart. You know. And I think that was such an amazing picture of grace to me, of God being willing to allow me to see who I am and who I've allowed myself to become, you know, like by the choices I made. I cried by myself for the first time in 10 years. Like this is what's happening on the inside of me. Like there's turmoil. Like I thought maybe I need to leave, like get away from this. So that week later, 1 week from the day from her coming home, we're laying in bed, and she says, "Hey, we need to talk." And I told her, "Listen, I want to talk, but I don't think you're going to be here on the other side of this conversation." And she said to me, she said, "I may not be here, but there's freedom on the other side of this conversation." And it was in that moment I was just like, I just broke. You know, I was like, I was so miserable that if that's true, like if what you're saying to me is true, if there's really freedom on the other side of this, I want that. I mean, that's how broken I was. That's how miserable with the life that I was living. That's how miserable I was. Like if what you're saying is real, I want that. So I started the process that night of confessing all the things that I was and everything that I had done, and you know, I just unloaded it all. And, you know, what a picture of God's grace and love that she responded in love.
I don't count drinking, and I still don't. So
well, that's the one part
well, this is one thing I ain't ready to. Look, I'm not ready to give up beer.
Well, you shouldn't give up beer. You should count it.
No, you can't possibly do that.
Of course, you can do it.
No,
you absolutely could possibly count the calories in if you drink a Mick Ultra. 95 calories.
Mike,
It keeps you
disciplined.
disciplined.
All right, so it's not going to work for me because I'm going to sit down. Yesterday, I sat down and drank 8 beers.
Nice.
Over the course of the day.
Okay.
You know, that I'm not going to count that.
How's that any different saying, I'm going to eat chocolate cake today? I'm just not going to count it.
Well, if you're drinking Bud Lights, it's 96 calories a beer. So that's 800 calories almost, or, 750 calories. That's almost half of your allotted.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's my point.
Yeah, I don't count it. I don't. Look, it's my rules, man. It's my damn diet. It's my rules.
I understand that, but you understand that
I'm still losing the weight.
Still counts.
Listen, I understand.
That's my point. Like
Hey.
the body just decides, oh, wait, we're not going to count this?
No, I understand what you guys are saying about it, but I do not count the beers. I'm not disciplined or I'm lazy. Like, I'm not going to go in there and go, well, yep, there's number 3. Let me type that one in. Okay, number 6, add that one. I'm not going to, while I'm sitting there drinking beer, listening to music, sitting in the pool, I'm not going to be typing in every beer each time I drink one.
You don't have to, though. That's about, like, at the end of the day, well, why wouldn't you just put your beers in?
At the end of the day, after 8 beers, I'm not messing with apps.
You are right now?
Yeah, I didn't have 8 beers just now.
Yeah, I sometimes don't understand you, but that's okay.
Listen.
It's not my job to understand.
Look, this is me and this app have an understanding.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That I'm going to put the food in.
And not the beers.
I am not counting drinking.
All right.
And if we got a problem, if that's not going to work, then I'm going to delete this damn app and I'll damn handle it myself.
Wow, it is close to a personal relationship with this app you have.
Well, I'm just saying, look.
It is.
Look, me and this app, man, we're going to do this together. Thank you. You're going to help me, but don't mess with my beer.
The day I got my license, we went and got my license. I had a 72 Chevelle. And we got back home, and I told Mom I was going to go just cruise around and, just have fun driving by myself. So first place I went was Mama's.
Yeah.
And I come in the back way, and, where you park in front of the house and you still can't be seen by the shop.
Yeah.
And I walked in the front door, and it was easy with Mama. I mean, I walked right in. We're hanging out, talking, conversations about, what I did in growing up, my hobbies and things I enjoyed. And then we talked about, I talked to her about going out to see Dad.
Was he out there?
Yep, he was out there. Well, I asked, at first, I guess I asked if he was out there, and she said, yeah, he's out there.
How long did you talk to Mamaw before you went out there?
It took me about 2 hours.
Whoa! What?
Yeah, about 2 hours.
He's out there just working in the shop?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And, Dad, he could leave any minute.
Yeah.
You know how he does, just jump in the vehicle and take off. But finally, I built the courage up and walked out the back door. And, the back door comes down, and you're right there at the garage. So I walked in the garage, and it was, everybody laughing and clanging tools and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I opened that door, it got quiet.
Yeah, I bet.
And I remember Tony Sr. was sitting there on one of the suspensions of one of the cars, and Dad was under the hood, and he just raised up when I opened the door, and Tony turned around, and that's when things got quiet.
Yeah.
And Dad's like, hey, son. I said, hey, Dad, how you doing? He said, good. So we sat there and talked a little bit, and he says, come on, let's go riding. So we rode around town a little bit, just talking about things, and he mentioned about me coming to the house and visiting and getting to meet you and Kelly. And I'm like, heck yeah, we'll do that. So, we set the date, and I can't remember the day or anything, but I came there.
Was it shortly after that, or?
It was shortly after that. Yeah, it was like that following week.
Let me ask you a question. So you have this, you've met him, right? And when you're sitting in that truck riding around with him, is it like surreal?
Yeah.
What's that feel like?
It was just like, it's like we hadn't been apart,
There was a connection.
It was relaxed.
It was a magical.
I just had to be a connection because, I wasn't nervous after that or anything. After I walked in that shop and saw him, I was just kind of just relaxed after that.
You go back to the shop Did you go say bye to Mama?
Yep, went back and said bye to everybody. And
What did you tell Mama?
I told her it was really cool that we got to spend time together and got to talk.
What was the conversation, though? Not with Mama, with your dad.
It was just about, things we did in life, and then he explained, his life growing up and why he left and, chasing his dream. And he regretted every minute of it, but knew that Jack had a fence to us talking or meeting, so he didn't interfere with that. He respected Jack for that. So we got done riding and everything, and we had that date set up. So
you get in your car, right? And you drive home.
Yep.
Did you? What? How do you?
Man, I was pumped. I was excited.
I know, but did you? What did you do when you got home? How'd your mom not figure it out?
Well, Jack was at work, so I walk in and I went to Mom. I said, "Mom," I said, "I got to talk to you." She said, "What's that?" I said, "I told you I was going to go riding around, just cruise around, get the feel of driving myself." But I did go to Mama's. And she said, "Did what?" I said, "I went to Mama's and visit Mama for a while." And I said, and Dad was back there in the shop, and I went and saw him.
What'd she say?
And she just started crying. She said, "Well, what was it like? Was everything good?" And, we went through everything. I told her about all of it, and she was relieved that things went as calm and easy as it did.
What'd she think was going to happen?
Well, she didn't know.
Yeah.
You think about it, times as we had apart from 3 years old to 16 years old, you don't see each other, just talk to each other. One time on the phone, you never know what's going to happen. I didn't know if I would be accepted or rejected.
Yeah.
I felt I would be accepted because when we talked on the phone, he told me he wanted to see me and stuff. So,
yeah, I guess when you're walking in, when you're walking out that door of Mama's house and walking toward that shop door, there's that moment. Are you thinking about that in that moment?
Yep.
Of like, man, this is going one way or the other.
It's going to happen. We'll figure out what's going to go from here. So,
damn. All right.
So I pull up in the driveway, and you're out in the front yard playing with a couple guys in football.
Yeah.
And Kelly wasn't out there. It was just you and a couple kids. I walked up and knocked on the door, and it wasn't Dad that answered. It was someone else. And I said, "Hello?" She says, "Hey," slammed the door.
Said, "Hey," and slammed the door?
Yep. And then Dad, I heard him inside, a little loud, and he come to the door and, "Hey, son, so sorry about that." So she wasn't expecting you and didn't know what was going on. So.